Sir, today, as we are aware, we have with us Shri Sanjeev Vittal Russell Saab, who is an ex-MD of IDMI, which is one of the best laboratories for testing and calibration purposes, electronics and testing calibration purposes in Bombay. It has branches at other places also. Today, the topic is how to get the CE marking, and he is being an expert of this CE marking. He will let us know because large number of equipments needs to have the CE marking, and he will explain what is CE marking, how we can get the CE marking. I'd like to just give a brief introduction of Shri Sanjeev Vittal Sir. He is graduated in MTech Engineering from Government Engineering College, Aurangabad, MTech in CAD and CAM. He worked in automobile, tooling and CNC technology areas before joining MSME Technology Center. He joined as Principal Director in IDMI Mumbai and got retired after 18 years of the service as MD of IDMI. During his service in IDMI Mumbai, he was a CEO of Calibration, Testing, Tool Room Services and Manufacturing and Training Division of MSME Technology Central. During his service period, he has experience of giving support to small-scale industries for production and quality improvement support to government departments, particularly ISRO and BARC, in development of import substitute by design and manufacturer at IDMI Mumbai. The support also was given to entrepreneurship development, incubation center, center of export for small scale industries. This is a small introduction about Dr. Shri Sanjeev Vittal Sahab. I know he is an expert of National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. He has done large number of assessments of 17025 2017. So we have a very good expert of the field in the area where he can help us, he can explain about this CE marking. Sir, we have the participants from the industries, from the engineering colleges, from the government departments, and all of us basically are interested to understand about this CE marking, which is very important and very, I think in some cases it is necessary, and in Europe and other countries. And this basically ensures the quality and the safety of an electronic product. Sir, over to you, please, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh ji. I've initially a good morning to all the members, all the participants, and I express my sincere thanks to Ashutosh Agarwal, Deputy Director and Head of RRSL Ahmedabad, and he is a dynamic head of RRSL who has given me opportunity. I must express thanks, and thanks to Department of Consumer Affairs who has initiated this regular activity for the benefits of the students and the entrepreneurs of the Indian industries. So this is one of the very good initiative which RRSL has started, I think, and it really will help the entrepreneurs, the upcoming startups to learn many things through government departments and implement the same. Today, I also express, I don't know whether our honorable consumer affairs departments, I must thanks to Vinit Mathur, Joint Secretary, and BM Dixit, former director, and because I am not able to give, so I express thanks to them also. And with this, I will start the presentation, Ashutosh ji. I will request Ronak to share it from there. Ashutosh ji, I will request Ronak to be there for.
Sir, Santosh ji has already started.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Santosh ji, please, slide number 1. This is C. I will talk on the here. C stands for the definition has not come, unfortunately, but C stands for the Community European. That is, this is a French word. For French European community. The marking enables manufacturers to show that their product comply with the relevant European directives. And then C, the letter appears on many products traded on the extended single market in the European area, the European economic area. They signify that products sold in European Economic Area have been assessed to meet high safety, health, and environmental protection requirement. So this is in short, the definition of the C mark. Now the advantage of C mark. Next slide, Santoshji, please. Next slide, Santoshji. Santoshji, please. Yeah, thank you. Advantage of C mark. As such, you may be knowing the advantage of C mark. C marking allows you to sell your product in the countries of the European Economic Areas, EEA. By implementing the requirements, you may also find that your product is safer and more reliable, therefore reduce the risk of the customer dissatisfaction. So it covers all the conditions, safety, environment, and the product functioning, which is the most satisfaction requirement of the customer, and that gets satisfied after carrying out various satisfactory conditions of CE mark, which we are going to know from this today's discussion. Then disadvantage of the CE mark, as you can see, that new product directives may exceed the current national laws and regulations. Every year, I think they are every 5 years there is a changes in the directives. So it is the disadvantage that new product directives may exceed the current national laws and regulation. I mean, maybe the synchronization is required. So it may cost a manufacturer extra to modify the currently existed design and or production line in order to continue exporting to or gain access to this huge European market. Next slide, Santoshji. Now, how to obtain CE marking? It is very essential to obtain. We have to see few 5 to 6 steps are there. First, identify European requirements of your product. Then you have to identify your products on the portal. You will find all these lists and all those things which we will be discussing. Check whether your product meets the specific requirements. Then you have to also check whether your product must be tested by a notified body. Then you test your product. Then compile the technical dossier and affix CE marking and draft a declaration of conformity. So this is the, in short, again, how to obtain CE marking, which we are trying to show it to you. Then next slide. If we see the how to obtain CE marking, you will find, as I discussed in the earlier slide, you have to identify the applicable directives, identify the applicable requirements of the document, then identify an appropriate route to the conformity, then assessment of the product conformity. So these are the different steps, like identifying product applicable directives, then identifying the applicable requirements of the documents, then identifying the appropriate route of conformity, and then assessment of the product conformity, and compiling all these things, we will make a technical file. So compiling the technical documentation will create a technical file. So this will make the organization to authorize to fix on their own CE mark on their product. Next. The following steps bring together insight on CE marking from experts and trade commissioners alike, as well as key European resources. find the C directives that applies to your product, know the essential requirements of your product, determine if you need third-party certification, assess the product conformity, create and maintain technical documentation. Then last step will be declaration of the conformity and affixing CE mark. So covering, as repeatedly we are discussing, that CE directives we have to apply, then decide the different essential requirements of the products, then whether third party certification is required, assess the product conformity, and maintain technical documentation, and declare of conformity and affixing CE mark. So you have to also note that comprehensive companies are strongly encouraged to consult the web resources sections of the for additional information. This is indirectly indicated that we must follow the portal of European so that the changes, whatever is happening, will be helpful. Now, step one. In the step one, we will have to find the EE directives that applies to your product, which we have already seen in a map. We have to, how do you know that if your product requires CE mark? The first step is to see your product is covered under one or more of the 24 CE directives given below in the next slide. If your product falls under any of these directives, it needs to be CE marked. So they have classified the product range. Now this is the list of the 24 CE directives. So which indicates that these products has to cover in these slides. If you see now for low voltage, you will find the directives 2006 /95 EC. Then simple pressure vessel, it is a 2009 /1005. Then eco design for energy related product. Then noise emission for outdoor equipment. Also, then toy safety, which is covered by directives 2009/48, then 88/378. So then 93/68. Then construction products. So that also get covered under 89/106 and 93/68. Then EMC, that is electromagnetic compatibility. Lot of electrical or electronic products, wherever there is a requirement of electrical connections are there, which comes under EMC also, and that comes under low voltage also sometimes. So this electromagnetic compatibility will be 2004/108/EC. Then machinery 2006/42. Then personal protective equipments, which comes under 89/686 or 93/68 or 93/95, 96/58. Then non-automatic weighing instrument, which comes under 2009/23, then 90/384. Then appliances, burning gaseous fuel, then hot water boilers, liquid or gaseous fuels, which is covered by 92/42, 93/68, then 2000/8, 2005/32. Then explosives for civil users 93/15. Then medical devices comes under 93/42, 98/79, then 2000/70, then 2001/104. These are the 24 directives partly which we have seen in the above list. Next. these are the whatever we discussed just now: low voltage pressure vessel, that is a simple pressure vessel, then eco design of the energy related products, then toy safety. Particularly toy safety are very much important for the children's safety. That's why toys are covered. A few toys which are having safety requirements are covered under CE marking. Then construction products and machinery. So these photographs I am showing as to indicate which are the products that are covered. Then in the next, also if you see, you will find a few products like noise emission for outdoor equipment, then personal protective equipment. Recently, we have gone in the phase of COVID, so we know mask and PPE, all these personal protection devices, equipments. So these also comes under CE marking. Then appliances, uh, burning gaseous fuel. Then the non-automatic weighing instruments. Uh, then hot water boilers, liquid or gaseous fuels. Then explosives for civil uses. So these are the products range which we have just seen in the list and by the way of photographs. Now, another product range of medical devices we are looking into it is uh, these are the medical devices like anesthesia machines, then surgical lights, then surgical tables and chairs, then monitors, then defibrillators, then electrosurgical, then stretches and microscopes, then infusion pumps, then stainless steel medical equipment, then imaging equipment, then respiration, ventilation, sterilizers, then ECG machines, then endoscopy systems. So these are the product range of the medical devices which comes under CE marking. Now, other product range is also indicated over here. That is the active implantable medical devices, in vitro diagnostic medical devices, which comes under 98/79. Then equipment explosive atmosphere, 94/9. Then recreational craft, 94/25. Then lifts, 95/16. Pressure equipment comes under 97/23. Then radio equipment and telecommunication terminals equipment, that comes under 99/5. Then cableway installation to carry the persons, which comes under 2000/9 EC, and then polyroad pyrotechnic articles, which comes under 2007/23. So these are the again 24 directives, part of 24 directives. This is being shown in the photographs only. Next slide. It is shown in the photograph how the active implantable medical devices, in vitro diagnostic medical devices, equipment, explosive atmospheres, then recreational crafts, then pressure equipments, radio equipments, and telecommunication terminals equipment, pyro technic articles, then cableway installation to carry the persons, then measuring instruments and lifts. So these are the range of equipment of 24 directives which we have discussed. Now, what is meant by directives? That we will be discussing. So directives is a legislative act of European Union. which requires member state to adopt their national laws to achieve a particular result that is harmonized to European rules in this area. For example, European directives for product which falls under electromagnetic compatibility, we call EMC category, call for the member states to ensure that electrical devices that fall under this category meet the certain requirement. So, what is the directive that has been stated by European? So it has to comply to the national laws, and also it has to comply with the harmonies. It is a part. I mean, harmonized directives are also part of a total system of the CE marking, which has been covered into this. So this we will be discussing in detail furthermore. Then we have to understand what are the points that to be noted while doing this thing. Determining whether your product falls under one or more directives can be difficult. For example, if you manufacture electronic packaging machine with a conveyor belt, several directives will impact you. If you want to know which directive apply, you will have to go through each of the 24 directives. So 24 directives covering product coverage is sometimes found in the annexure. So these directives have got annexure also, so that we may have to refer in detail. There is no reference tool or database that lists which directive might be applicable to certain product. A trade commissioner can help you navigate these complexities. Once you have figured out if your product fall under one or more directives, it's time to assess if your product conform to the applicable directives, and if not, how you will achieve the conformity. So this point we must take into the consideration before going further for getting the CE marking. Then step 2. Step 2 is we have to know the essential requirements of the products. So each directives details what the European legally requires for your product to be compliant. These are the formally referred to as essential requirements in the directive. So the essential requirements are very general in nature. The directives do not detail how to design a product in a way that it meets the essential requirement. Now, one example, the requirement is particularly harmonized standards. European Commission often provides mandate to European organization. So the various European organizations are there: CEN, ELEC, CENELEC, then and ETSI to develop standards which are harmonized with the essential requirements of the directives. A product which conforms to the harmonized standard is deemed to comply with the essential requirements of the applicable directives. For information about the content and availability of these harmonized standards, we have to contact the organization, that is European Committee for Standardization, which is called as CEN, and European Committee for Electrotechnical Standardization, that is SENLEC, and European Telecommunications and Standard Institute, ETSI. So for knowing the essential requirement of our product, we have to be following the standardizations of various European committee, that is CEN. Then we have to also see the CEN, SINLEC, then ETSI. So these are the various European commissions where we have to follow the harmonized standards also. Next. Then other standards. In many cases, manufacturers may rely on standards other than harmonized standards in order to demonstrate the compliance with the essential requirements in the directive. One of the notable exceptions to this rule is the construction product regulation, which makes the use of harmonized standard. So these are the other standards which we have to rely, and other than harmonized standard, in order to demonstrate the compliance with the essential requirement of directives. So construction product regulation is one of the example for all those things. Now, European Commission guidelines. The European Commission often provides detailed guidelines on the application of specific directives, including details on the interpretation of the essential requirements of the directives. While these guidelines do not have a legal value, only the official text of the directive is there. So they are often written in consultation with the member of state authorities and that enforce the directive. So along with the member state directories, the directive is written as an official text also by the European Commission. Again, we have to make a note of this because this standard is a quite wide subject and this requires a lot of study and knowledge. So we have to have a note of few of the things, like a harmonized standard can cost anywhere between 300 to 1500 euros. So this we may have to purchase. These may be expensive, but could be worth the investment, while a manufacturer does not need to buy these documents to meet the essential requirement. Requirements of the directives. European authorities often use them to determine whether a product meets the essential requirements. So working from the same documents can help you to avoid the potential technical dispute over whether your product meets the essential requirements of the directives. Again, essential requirements are often very vague, leaving a lot of rooms for technical interpretation. Below is the expert of the table, short table of harmonized standards for construction product. Though not all the tables have the same. So one example of the harmonized product is also shown in order that what are the essential requirements and how we have to handle the technical interpretation. In the harmonized standard, particularly construction product, in the slide 20 particularly, you will find there are about 6 columns are there. First column is a ESO, then second is a reference and title of the harmonized standard, and third one is a reference of the superseded standard. So earlier standard is also referred over here. Then date of applicability of the standard as harmonized European standard. So when it was applicable in the market, that date is also given. Then date of the end of the coexistence period of Note 4. So how can I mean what will be the date of the end of the coexistence product? Note 4 is also indicated over here. So these are the four tables. Now in the next slide, what does this total column means that is indicated? ESO is nothing but the European Standard Organization. The group is responsible for adoption and publication of the European standard. For since we are showing this harmonious standard for construction product, the European Committee of Standardization is the author for the same. So this is the short form of ESO, that is European Committee for Standardization, CM. So European Standard Organization is a short form of ESO. Column 2 refers to the title of the harmonized standard of its reference document, which is here we are talking on the construction particularly. Then column 3 talks of the reference of the previously upheld standard if that is applicable. Then column 5 talks on the date after which the old standard can no longer be used. So column 5 indicates the date after which the old standard can no longer be used. So even if it is implemented on 1/1/2008, the old standard will continue up to 1/1/2009. That is indicated. So this is how the drafting of the directives and the various details are written in the harmonized standard. One example was shown for the construction product. Once you have identified the essential requirement in the directives and harmonized standard applicable to your product, you need to determine whether your product meets the applicable requirements, whether you need to have conformity assessment body test and certify your product to ensure that this is the same case. So you have to identify the essential requirement of the document and then harmonize standard also applicable to your products. So then we will determine what we have to meet the applicable requirements. So this is how whether we need to have conformity assessment body test or certify our product to ensure. Then step 3. Determine if you need third-party certification. Some directives require that product tested and certified by a third-party organization in order to ensure your conformity with the applicable essential requirements. Whereas these organizations are known worldwide as a conformity assessment bodies. So these conformity assessment bodies are very well known in Europe as a notified body. In short, it is called NB. If applicable, directives do not require the use of notified bodies NB. Manufacturers may rely on their own in-house facilities to assess their products' conformity. A notified body is an entity authorized by European authorities to assess a product conformity to the essential requirements set out in the applicable directives. And notified body also conducts an audit to make sure manufacturers have completed step 1 and 2. And that, I mean, step 1 and 2, which we discuss on the details, the product details, the various products, the directives available, or the harmonized standards which are available. So those things we are discussing in this. That is what in step 3 you have to ensure. So step 1 and 2, and that they are identified the directives of the essential requirements applicable to their product. Then in step 3 continued, a notified body is an entity authorized by the European authorities to assess the product conformity to the essential requirements set out in the applicable directives. And a notified body also conducts an audit to make sure manufacturers have completed step 1 and 2, that they have that essential requirements that are applicable to their products. So in step 3, these things are confirmed by the notified body with that organization. Some directive also indicates that a manufacturer must use. Next slide, please. Some directives indicates that a manufacturer must use a notified body for some product. These directives include medical device directives. Notified body wherever or assessment body where it is required, that list is given. That is a medical device directives, equipment and protective system in the potentially explosive atmosphere directives, then pressure equipment directives, then appliance burning gaseous fuel directives, and simple pressure vessel directives. Other directives do not require that manufacturers rely on notified body. If the manufacturers use the harmonized standard, which we have discussed in step 2, to determine the conformity with the applicable essential requirements. On the other hand, the use of a notified body is required for some products covered under these directives. If a manufacturer does not use the applicable harmonized standard, these directives include the machinery directives and toy safety directives. The European has also reduced the number of products that requires a notifying body assessment. The low voltage directives, for example, does not require use of notifying body, because this test we can carry out at there is a guideline for which these low voltage directives, the test we can carry out at various laboratories in India. European authorities are increasingly putting the onus on manufacturers to prove their products are compliant. Now we have to also note that to find the notified bodies appointed by European authorities to carry out conformity assessment, use NANDO, that is the new approach notified and designated organization database. So this database is available from which we can find it out notified bodies which are appointed by the European authorities. Manufacturers can search for notified body by country and by the directives. So with the reference to the country and with reference to the directive, we can correlate and find out the notifying bodies. While the vast majority of notifying bodies are located in Europe, number of them have also subsidiaries or contractual relations with the certification bodies or testing laboratories located in Canada or in United States to service the North American clients. In India also, such bodies are available who are coordinating with various testing and other laboratories from where they can conduct the test. Now step number 4. We have to assess the product conformity. How do you know that your product complies with the essential requirements in the applicable directives? You will have to test documents that your product actually conforms. Each directive outlines which conformity assessment procedures, also referred as a modules, a manufacturer can undertake. So we have to undertake the modules. These are there are following are in the next slide. There are 8 conformity assessment modules are there. The applicable directives outline which modules apply for particular product categories. So apart from directives and harmonized directives, we also need to follow these modules, which essentially requires to be undertaken during assessment process. So the module A is nothing but a internal production control. Basically, this can be, you can say in short, is a part of ISO 9001 system. Then EC type examination, then conformity to type, then production quality assurance, then module F, module E is a product quality assurance, then module F is a product verification, module G is a unit verification, then module H is a full quality assurance, that is ISO 9001. So part of the module A to H, 8 modules are there, which is similar to the ISO 9000. So ISO 9001 is also necessary, one organization should have, and these 8 modules should be covered as a part of directives and harmonized directives. Using module B as an example, the chart below gives an overview the task that manufacturers and the notified body must carry out, as well as the task that the manufacturer can delegate to authorized representative. So sometimes the organization may not be able to handle, so they can give it to authorized representative also. Generally, the closure of product get to module H more important than notified NB becomes. So module H is nothing but ISO 9001. So you have to understand that generally closer of product gets module H, more important notified becomes. So ISO 9000 becomes essential in all these cases. Then module B. Manufactures or establishes technical documentation regarding design, manufacturing and operations of the product. Manufacturers or authorized representative applies for EC type examination, then places at the disposal of notifying body one or more. Again, they have to refer for this the directory or the portal where, depending on the country, the notified body is indicated, which is or are the representatives of the production envisaged. Inform the notified body for all modification to the approved product. Keep the technical documentation, including copy of the EC type examination certificates, so at the disposal of surveillance authority. What is notifying body? We have already discussed it. They ascertains the performing what they are doing is that they ascertains by performing or having perform examination and test that the specimen meets the applicable provisions and is manufactured in accordance with the technical documentation. They issue a notified body issues an EC type examination certificate also. Then notifying body keeps a copy of the certificates and record of other relevant technical information. Then notified body also communicate to the other notifying bodies the relevant information concerning the EC type examination certificates that is carried out. Then these 8 procedures can be chalked down or boiled down to the 2 approaches. First approach is assessment of conformity by the manufacturer. Second is the assessment of conformity by the notifying body. Moreover, for us, many times we feel that we should ourselves carry out the assessment of conformity by conducting the test at various places. So in the first approach, that is assessment of conformity by the manufacturers can hire service provider to their assess to test facilities, but will pay simply for testing and other elements of the conformity assessment. So this testing can be done through the consulting coordinator, or they can do on their own and not consulting the certification, which is also what a notified body is hired to do. A company, I mean, these activities also done by notifying body. The same activity directly the manufacturer can also undertake. A company can assess conformity of the product by itself if it has the required facilities to test its product. This method is much less expensive. Here, the manufacturers has to pay direct test charges, hence it is a less expensive, because again conducting the test through the notifying bodies or through other agencies will cost it more. Hence, this process is a little expensive, but we need to employ the manpower behind these operations. This test can be conducted in India by the various laboratories. Now, assessment conformity by and notifying bodies. A manufacturer is required to use a notifying body to assess conformity and certify its product, but it ultimately remains responsibility for their conformity with European essential requirements. Conformity assessment to the European directives for CE marking may consist of different activities, including product testing, visual inspection, risk analysis, as well as a review of labels and instructions. Next slide. Typical steps which may involve the assessment conformity, that is including review the technical documentation related to design, manufacture, or operations of the product. So assessment conformity, what are the additional things? They will have to carry out review of the technical documentation related to design and manufactures or operation of the product. Then testing of one or more specific aspect of each product, of a sample of the product or a representative specimen of the product. Assessment of conformity body also carries out the assessment of the production quality systems of the manufacturer and ongoing verification of the product conformity. Here we have to also note that we have to be prepared for many directives allowed the manufacturers to choose among different conformity assessment procedures for the same product. Knowing all your options can yield significant saving in time and money. Your product has been tested and meets all relevant European community standards. Your technical documentation must be in order. Now step number 5. We have to create and maintain the technical documentation. We have done up to technical testing, either the manufacturers or by the notifying body. So in step number 5, we have to create the technical documentation and maintain the file as a technical file, we can say. So all CE marking directives impose an obligation for the manufacturers to create and make available technical documentation. That is called technical file, containing information that demonstrate that product conforms to the requirement of the directives. So here only documentation part is covered. So technical documentation related to the CE mark product must be kept for at least 10 years from the last date of the product was manufactured. Unless the directive provides for the latter change, the technical documentation must be provided on demand to enforcement authority, often within the short timelines. The technical documentation need to be kept up to date, and especially when the product is modified or is subject to update the conformity assessment procedure. Now, these European countries are having other various countries having a different language. So translation is also one of the important topics. Although several of the CE marking directives and European national laws impose that user information or user manuals be translated into official language of the countries where they are sold. And the rest of the technical documentation can be maintained in the European language, including English or French. So English and French may be compulsory, but apart from that, if we want to supply this thing to Germany, we may have to use German language, or Spain, we have to use Spanish language. So these are the different directives have been given regarding translation of the user manuals, as the supplier need to supply the same in the manufacturer, the supply country. Now, location of technical documentation. European law does not require that technical documentation be located in Europe. The situation is different in the declaration of conformity. In step 6, we have discussed this. So European law does not require that technical documentation be located in Europe. So in India, if we are located, we can undertake all these steps either ourselves or we can get it through notifying bodies. So this is the location is not important for them. So situation is different for declaration of competency step that we have discussed. However, European importers must ensure that the exporter provides that file to European enforcement authority. So technical file, whatever has been prepared, that file must be shared with the enforcement authorities. And furthermore, European importers or distributors marketing products under their own name are required to have copy of complete technical documentation. So who will have the copies? That also has been specified. So European importers or distributor marketing product who are handling this, they should also have this product since they are dealing in that country. So these are the part related to technical documentation which has been specified. Then declaration of conformity and affixing the CE mark. this is the last step. The document certifying compliance with the CE marking directive is the declaration of conformity. The declaration of conformity is an acknowledgement by the manufacturers and they are responsible for compliance of its product with the applicable directives. These documents is the manufacturer's sole responsibility and establishment of the declaration of conformity is a legal obligation. So once they have applied for CE marking, it is very essential for that the manufacturers or establishment to legally follow. The declaration should be available to the authorities at the European point of entry. So in which country it is entering, so that point it should be also available. So if the route of the entry is also there, then it may be different. So at that particular point of entry, that copy of the technical files and documentation should be available. Contrary to the complete technical documentation, which does not necessarily need to be shared with the importers or distributor in some cases. In some cases, they say that it may not be necessary. The declaration conformity should be made available to European distributor, which may be required to provide it to the national authorities immediately upon the request. So, in this step 6, how the declaration of conformity and affixing to the CE marking is done, that is being indicated. So here, basically, if the route of the product entry is different, then in that case, you have to follow additional copies of the documentation. Then declaration should be available to the authorities at the European point of entry, contrary to the complete technical documentation, which does not necessarily need to be shared with the importer and the distributor in some cases. So it is also clarified that when we have to share these copies to importers or distributor, which is not necessary, the declaration of conformity should be made available to the European distributors who may require to provide it to the national authorities immediately upon the request. Then the declaration of conformity is generally one pager. I mean, short, brief, what we should cover in the declaration of conformity. That is written that who you are, then what product it refers to, what directives are involved, which standards have been used, where test results can be found, who is the responsible in our company. So in one pager declaration of conformity, one has to declare affixing the in the step 6 the declaration of conformity in affixing CE mark. This is the at the end this paper must be submitted to European authorities. Now slide number 40, please show 40. Next slide, please show first. Yeah. Now, what is the new approach? Now, in new approach directives define the essential requirement that products must meet when they put on the market, but they do not give technical specification to meet. Those manufacturers may choose to use harmonized standard or another standard to comply with the essential requirements of the directives. Some products may require compliance to more than one directive. So earlier also we have discussed in the step number 1 or 2 where there are different annexures are there, harmonized directives are there. So these thing also we need to follow. Now this new approach directives define this is the essential requirement. Now earlier slide, can you show the products are covered in this following slide? No, 39, earlier one. this measuring instruments, medical devices, including active implantable medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices, non-automatic weighing machines, then the personal protective equipments, pressure equipments, radio and telecommunication terminal equipments, recreational crafts, then simple pressure vessels and toys. These are the products. These are coming under new approaches, which defines the essential requirement that product must meet, which is also a part of, which can be a part of harmonized standard also, or the standards essential requirement being given by the state authorities. So this is the list of those products which has got a new approaches. Then slide number 41. The following is the current list of the new approaches directives. So in new approaches directives, cableway installation regulation European 2016-24. Now, if you see, the cableway installation was there in the earlier list also, but that was 2009 somewhere. So here the regulation of cableway installation which has come in 2016. That in new approaches it is indicated. Construction product 05/2011 65/EU. Then ATEX directives, then pyrotechnic articles directives 2013/29/EU. Then explosive directive has come in 2014. Then gas appliances directives 2009/142. Regulation 2016/426, which has effectively done 2018, I think, from 21st April. Then eco design hot water boilers directive is 92/42 EEC. Then lift directive is 2014/33 and electromagnetic compatibility directive 2014/30. So these are the comes under new approaches. Then more products are there additional, which are like low voltage directive. So this list, whatever we are seeing in the slide 41 and 42, both the lists are after 2010, whatever changes had occurred in various directives, 24 directives which we have seen earlier. So these are mostly now low voltage directive has come again in 2014. Measuring instrument directive has come. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Low voltage directive has come in 2014. Then measuring instrument directive has also come in 2014. Active implantable medical devices directive has come 90/385 EC. Then non-automatic weighing instruments directive 2014. Then personal protective equipment regulation 2016/425. Then simple pressure vessels directive 2014/29. Radio equipment directive 2014/53. Then recreational craft and personal watercraft directive, which has come in 2013/53. Transportable pressure equipment directive 2010/35. Then pressure equipment directive 2014/68. Then toy safety directive 2009/49. Marine equipment directive 2014/90. So these are the new approaches directive. Now the European Declaration of Conformity contains key information including product identification, name and full address of the manufacturers of or his representative, statement that declaration is issued under the sole responsibility of the manufacturers or authorized representative, list of the products, safety directives it complies with, list of harmonized standards or other applicable technical standards and specifications, name and identification for the notified bodies if applicable, then signature of the representative of the organization placing it on the European or European Economic Area market, and the date of declaration of conformity which the organization representative is signing. So this is the key information that is needed during final conformity declaration. We can just once again little bit see what is in detail or in what are the new things have come recently. New things what has come in conformity assessment actually. The next slide please. What is the conformity assessment? So this is one of the things, it has come in 2022 actually. There is a blue guide has come. So conformity assessment is the process carried out by the manufacturers for demonstrating whether specified requirements related to the products have been fulfilled. A product is subjected to conformity assessment both during the design and the production phase and is responsibility of the manufacturer, even if the manufacturer subcontracts the design or production. So here a lot of liberal things has come in 2022, particularly the subcontracts of the design and or production is also being considered. Then depending on the applicable legislation, there are many different conformity assessment options for manufacturers. So all these details are available actually on the blue guide on the implementation of European product rules 2022 that contains many examples of conformity assessment option which on that blue guide on page 17 it is indicated. So this is just in order to understand, we are trying to discuss same which has been modified in 2022 that I am trying to this thing have come newly into conformity assessment in the and in the harmonized standard also. So in the next slide, in accordance to the market surveillance regulation 2019 1020 in July 1621, there must be an economic operator. Now here in the recent guidelines, they have indicated that there should be a economic operator in the European who can provide the market surveillance authority for compliance information or take certain action. So now in 2019, they have allowed economic operator in Europe to carry out the market surveillance authorities with the compliance information or take certain action. This economic operator must be identified on the product or its packaging or other documents before free circulation of the product be authorized. So he is identified particularly as a trial, for packaging purpose or pre-circulation of the product. The European has developed some detailed guidelines on this topic also. Now, recent development I am discussing, earlier I discussed on the what are the conformity assessment, what are the now we will be discussing what are the harmonized standards. Harmonized standards are a special category of European standards that have been developed at the request of European Commission to cover one or more essential requirements contained in the European legislation. So now recently they have tried to cover one or more essential requirements of the European legislation. if the reference to the harmonized standards are also been made in the official journals of the European Union, compliance with the relevant sections of the standard provides the presumption of the conformity with the essential requirement that the harmonized standards aims to cover. There are some links to regulations, directives, and other areas that have harmonized the standard. Applicable harmonized standards are listed on those pages. It is not mandatory to use special category of harmonized standard, but manufacturer must prove the product complies with the essential requirements of the applicable directive. So here harmonized standard may not be followed, but it can be product complies the essential requirement must be seen into it with as per applicable directives. Some of the things which has been showed are the changes which has occurred is for these following things actually: regulation, directives, and harmonized standards like chemicals. The substance, it has happened explosives for civil uses, then pyrotechnic article, then conformity assessment and management system, new legislation framework, NLF, and eco management and audit schemes have come. Then construction products regulation directives have come. Then consumers and workers protection, cosmetic products, general product safety, then personal protection equipment, toys. So in this area, so recently there is a changes has occurred for directives and harmonized standard. Others are energy efficiency products like eco design and energy labeling, then electric and electronic engineering, electromagnetic compatibility equipment for the explosive atmosphere attacks, what they call, then low voltage, then radio equipments. So it comes under this category. Now, healthcare engineering, active implantable medical devices, in vitro diagnostic medical devices, then in measuring technology, measuring instrument will come, and non-automatic weighing instrument will also come. So these are the list of the equipment which has been categorized nowadays. In mechanical and engineering and means of transport, if you see the list is indicating cable way installation designed to carry the persons, then equipment for explosive atmosphere attacks, then gas appliances, then inspection of the pesticides applications equipment, lifts, machinery, then pressure equipments, rail equipment, interoperability, then recreation craft and personal watercrafts, simple pressure vessel, then services, community postal services, then packaging and packaging waste, sustainability. Now we will see a few of the products which are without CE marking. In summary, what products do not need to have CE? The following list consists of the product that are not required to have CE marking effects. So packaging, furniture, sports equipment, clothing and textile, then high-speed rails, marine equipment, some toys and products for children's, articles intended to come into contact with the food, then holidays decorations. So these are the products which are not covered under for CE marking. In accordance with the Article 30 of the regulation number 765/2008 EC, appropriate action will be taken towards the misuse of the non-compliance. So apart from this, if CE marking is misused, I mean, for which, if it is applicable and we are not putting CE mark, then the action will be taken that under the regulation of 2008 oblique 765. Now there are some questions which are generally asked. These are the if all the are seen, there are different assembly part, different sub assemblies are there, and they are individually seen. And then the after assembly, whether the total assembled part need to have CE mark. So they say no, it's not. The finished product need to be assessed. So it is necessary that you should carry it out. If the company product are one of CE marking isn't necessary, I mean, only we have to supply one number, then what can be done? You may want to receive experts guideline before coming to this conclusion. Remember that if a product is in the service, it may need already this is existing product. They may say that even if it is one supply, you need to carry the CE marking also. Then CE marking is relatively easy and can be done in-house. CE marking in the areas of considerable expertise and should not be undertaken lightly. Rectification, having failed certification first time around may be relatively easy, but retesting is both costly and time consuming. Meanwhile, you are off the market. So you have to take care during each step of the conformity and test that we are carrying out. We have done electromagnetic EMC testing, so we can have a direct CE mark on the product. That is the question. So CE mark covers more than EMC testing also. So we have to carry all the other directives and then we can put the CE mark. We don't know that what standard or directives applies to our product or what testing is required. So we will wait for someone to tell us it don't affect us. It will be, but actually it will affect us. If you market a product that requires CE marketing, you will need to comply. The danger is that you might think that your product comply when they or don't, and ignorance is no excuse when safety is concerned. Someone may be authorized for taking action against you. So, with the lack of knowledge, if there is a ignorance, then and if we supply, then also we will suffer a lot with the legal not following the legal compliance. It does not apply to us because we only sell small quantities to B2B. Some people may think in this direction. So CE marking is not just a high volume consumer requirement. Even small quantities are also covered in B2B supply also. It will cover CE marking is essential. We buy the products in bulk from China and resell to Europe. So we are not responsible for CE marking. Some may be thinking in that direction that procuring cheap product from China with CE mark and we are selling it to Europe. You are placing the products in the market in Europe. So you are indeed responsible. Since we are dealing directly in the European market, we are responsible for the same. Though it is a Chinese product or it has been tested at their end. So we may have to carry it out on this thing. Then we are offering the product for customers to test. So CE marking is not required. products don't have to be purchased. If they are being placed in service, they require CE marking. So here the product is already in the market and we are supplying one in number. So in that case also we require to have CE marking. We might want to change the design, so we will wait for a while after the product has been launched, just in case CE marking certification needs to be in place when you launch. Some design changes may require an amount of retesting or analysis. So here, in short, it says that if design is changed, then again retesting and analysis is required. So we have to carry out all those tests. Our contract manufacturers will do it all. The manufacturers may help you with documentation, testing and assessment, but it's you, not them, that is the responsibility for CE marking. Since it is being supplied on our name, the contract, so it is essential for us to take care while documentation, testing and assessment. So since it is being sold on our name and our sign is on the declaration of it is our responsibility. Once it is tested, that that's it. I mean, if we take only one test, it is sufficient. That is what we feel. So we pass the test and are free to sell the products. No, it is not like that. There are documentation requirement, labeling requirement, declaration of conformity to be produced, and in some instance, third-party assessment to be done. So these are the few requirements or few questions being particularly asked in the market or their doubts. So that the European Commission is trying to clear. Now, apart from that, now CE marking, I think we will just need to cover 4 or 5 slides which are talking on the other certification also. There are other certification apart from European market, which you may be knowing. The UL listing mark. Actually, UL underwriters laboratory is a certifying body, testing and calibration lab in US, which has maintained since last 50 years, I think, or more than that. So this is one of the most common UL marks. If a product carries this mark, underwriters laboratories found that sample of this product met UL safety requirements. So now they have developed their own standard also. So with UL safety requirements, the product must be supplied to United States. These requirements are primarily based on UL own published standards for safety. This type of mark is seen commonly on the appliances and computer equipment, furnaces, heaters, and computer equipment, fuses, electrical panel boards, smokes, and carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, sprinkler system, personal flotation devices like life jackets and life preserves, bullet resistant gas classes, and thousands of other products. Product testing can be verified through your directory online. So the website is there. Actually, your laboratory is also available now in India. In Bangalore, they are having one lab. So all these EMC tests and other tests, they are carrying it out. So your mark is also essential when we supply the product to United States. Then FCC mark is also related to in United States only. The Federal Communication is independent United States government agency that is directly responsible to Congress. The FCC was established by Communications Act of 1934 and is charged with the regulating interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cables. The FCC jurisdiction covers the 50 states, the District of Columbia, and US possessions, all devices that operates at a clock rate of 9 kilohertz are required to test their product to the appropriate FCC company. Now, the CSA mark is also Canadian standard mark. The Canadian standard mark is a non-profit association serving business, industry, government, and consumer in Canada and the global marketplace, among the many other activities. CSA develops standards that enhance public safety. A nationally recognized testing laboratory, CSA, is very familiar with the US requirements. So since Canada is quite near to the US, they know all the requirements of United States, and which they are following all those things. So accordingly, they have developed their labs and testing facility. According to OSHA's regulation, the CSA and US mark qualifies an alternative to UL mark. So for UL mark, alternative is also CSA and US mark, which is done by CSA, like Canadian Standard Association. So we have seen the FCC mark, CSA mark, and UL mark. So in place of UL mark, there can be a CSA or US mark also. Here are some areas where CSA standards are applied. Canadian electrical codes, part 3 outside wiring, then electrical engineering standards, then electromagnetic compatibility. Now, there is a SASO certification required for Saudi Arabia certificates. SASO is a Saudi Arabia certificate of conformity, will give us access to the Saudi Arabian marketplace and is a requirement for importing regulated products into the Saudi Arabia. Failure to comply with these regulations can result in delay, penalty, or shipment being returned. Apart from that, so other certifications like TUV is also one body which is competent, similar to UL, an acknowledged partner for liquid tests, and opens door to the European market. So TUV NOD certificate is also applicable. By mistake, this C marking definition has come, which is a European word, French word actually, that has come over here. Anyway. Now in India, certification in India is done by BIS. So BIS certification, now Government of India has very made essential that whatever imported item will be there, they must carry out BIS certification. So BIS certification is one of the key certification requirement of the business in India that provides third-party guarantee regarding the safety, quality, and reliability of goods to the customers. In India, the BIS issued BIS certifications. Government of India has made it compulsory for business in India to obtain the certification under right scheme in consultation with the public health and safety. The purpose of BIS certifications are to increase the customers' confidence and trust in the product. It also which provides the quality assurance, safeguard customers from hazardous products, and protect public health. So BIS certification is granted only after testing the product samples in BIS certified laboratory. Thus, such BIS tested and certified goods ensure quality inspection and high quality products or goods. So in India, generally the BIS certification has become essential, which need to be followed. Even if we import few things from China, we need to certify. Apart from this, I just want to tell that the various tests or tests are carried out maybe at the various laboratories in India, like UN lab is there in Bangalore, TUV Nord lab is also there in Bangalore, then RRSL has got lab, IDMI Mumbai, then STQC, ERTC, so ETTC. So these are the various labs, government labs. Apart from that, few BIS lab also has come, and our BIS standards also are following generally the IEC or European standards. So the tests are also certified. Thirdly, the accreditation as per ISO 17025 is also a part of inbuilt part of the total certification. So these tests can be carried out uh, at various laboratories in India, which is accredited by NABL also. So in short, the total brief presentation I have given on the certification, which covers majorly CE marking and other, in short, the other certification. Thank you very much, Ashutosh ji. With this, I am covering the whole topic.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind and brief presentation. We have with us our beloved Director Sahab, Shri BN Dikshit Sahab. Sir, actually today we were having a topic which was related with the certification marks. And India, as we are all aware, that BIS is doing the certification mark, but in European countries we need CE marking. A large number of medical devices and even measuring instruments having the weighing and measuring parts, they are also covered under Europe like MID certification or CE certification. So this was a very wonderful information which the participants wanted to know. As far as CE mark is concerned, suppose a manufacturer in India wish to take a CE mark in India to supply its product in Europe, will it be possible to get some CE mark from India, in India itself?
Uh, Suppose if you are getting C mark, then you have to consult the European bodies. And when the European bodies are confirming to your laboratory or your factory, then only you can put the C mark. Another thing of the C mark is that the C mark is sometimes is not uh, covered in Germany and UK. That is a very challenging point. European Union covers the CE marks, but this Britain and Germany, they say that we may accept, we may not accept, depending that their economic situations. So they add some more testing जो है. So it is not possible that all the European countries are accepting the CE mark. Your question that whether any manufacturer in India may produce the CE mark. So CE mark is certified in the different instrumentations. If you are covering the different type of weights and measures during the approval, so you have seen that in OIML because we have made our most of the rules through the OIML document. So lot of the reference of the CE mark for testing has been given. So we do the testing, we are taking the
Sir, voice is not coming.
Yeah. So, I think his mic is off.
Yeah.
Sanjeev ji, will you please explain?
Yes, sir.
I'm explaining these very things. So
Yes.
suppose if you are doing the C mark, that is the part of the BIS also. So when this is the part of BIS or weights and measures laws or any drug law or fertilizer law or any other type of things are there. So that is accepted within the India. But when it is exported to any European countries, so they think from their own perspectives. So their standards, whatever the standards they have at their own atmospheric conditions, those things are not being confirmed. So that's reason where you are finding that your most of the export whatever you are doing is not fully successful. That's the reason we have to uh, have some more ideas about the standards, and we have to get the acceptance of those very countries uh, in our factory wherever we are exporting those very products are with their representative, that you see that we are following these standards. That's the reasons why whenever these things are landing on your states, so the goods may not be declared as non-conforming standard of the CE mark. Another thing is that the US, United Kingdom, Germany, they are adopting some more laws. So when the export is done to those very countries, so we have to adopt the those very countries laws as well as their additional whatever the things they are adding, those things also we have to uh, satisfy them. Plus, we should call there the expert in our factory on laboratories so that they may accept that very things. One of the small things I will tell you that once the some test was conducted in RRSL, and the RRSL failed that very equipment, and after failing that very equipment, the quality manager came to the RRSL. I do not want to refer the name of the RRSL. So the RRSL deputy director told that this is not confirming, so the certificate has been issued. So they told that this is the new equipment. So they told that if you want to see the experiment, then we can show you. So when the experiment was done before them, it was observed that the equipment is not working. So this type of things are also happening. Another thing is that where sometimes the suppose you are doing the export or you are doing business in India, the suppliers want to see your laboratory facilities. So what is the idea about the laboratory facilities? Whether the any industries or suppliers may visit your laboratory and see your facility, even after by the third party certifications. So this type of things are happening. So laboratories are forced to accept those very things because the industry perspective and transparency point of views. So these things are also happening. And the BIS is having the lot of standards, and those are all those standards are not mandatory. Only few certificates are being mandatory. And even if I can inform you that one example of water certificate, the water is also certified by BIS as well as by the BIS as well FSCI. Similarly, there are the 8 number of the items which are the certified by the BIS as well as by the FSCI. So you may see that there are the lot of standards which are done by the various other body. It is not necessary it is done by the only.
I think
Thank you.
Mike
Thank you
is
very
up.
much, sir. Yes, I think there's some problem in the connection. Sir,
Yeah.
now, would you like to speak something, sir, about it? Actually, sir, all the participants have been made the panelist. Kindly switch on your video and switch off your mic so that we can take the pictures to place on our all social media portals like Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, etc. Please. Thank you. No, sir, please. Over to you, sir. Please.
Yeah, actually, what Dikshitar was telling regard to synchronization of the laws in BIS in India and the European market. In BIS standard also, I think many standards have been adopted as per IEC or European standard or DIN standard and other standards. Of course, for CE marking, whatever test or various directives we follow, they are similar to Indians BIS also. But many times the test carried out at the laboratories are not accepted by the customers because of, so they should try to ensure that under certain guidelines these are being witnessed either by himself or by a third party, or even nowadays it is also essential to share the videos of the testing also. So these things become disputed, but this can resolve the issues and we can go further. Secondly, the mutual recognition agreement, whatever is there in our laboratory accreditation, in testing also, this is applicable. So hence, this MRA will be applicable. So sometimes after some days, maybe this will really help that the certifications in India will be definitely recognized in the outside country. I mean, that BIS certification, suppose, that may get recognized in other countries also. In calibration and testing, we are getting the same done already. I think that you, many of you may be knowing. So maybe slowly, this thing will happen, and there can be a lot of improvement in the legal directives and these things. Yeah, Ashutosh, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Suppose somebody wants to take the CE certification, a manufacturer of India, for selling his products in US, in Europe or somewhere outside. Will it be possible to take it any of the laboratory from India?
Yeah, nowadays this is very well possible to carry out, since the manufacturer can do his own test under by declaration. So if he knows all the directives and what are the different tests need to be carried out, so this test can be carried out at maybe ERTL, IDMI, or RRSL, or ETTC, or even private lab like TUE in Bangalore, or UL lab in Bangalore, or some private lab which has recently come under BIS, I think, certifications. So these labs are there. So of course, all the labs are not having full capacity of under one roof. So due to the limitations of the investment or the facility available, due to investment and all those things. But this can be carried out at different places, and those certificates can be combined together, or documentation can be done as a technical file. That is what I feel.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I think we have already taken the photos of the participants. With
Yeah.
this, I would like to close this session with the thanks to our expert, Sanjeev Saab,
Yes.
and all the participants. Next week, we'll meet with the next topic on next Saturday at 11 o'clock. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
With this, thanks to all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.